तो अब नेक्स्ट पार्ट के बारे में बात करते हैं। दिस इज टॉकिंग अबाउट डिसीजन मेकिंग अंडर रिस्क एंड अनसर्टेनिटी। तो सबसे पहले वील अंडरस्टैंड कि संक कॉस्ट एंड अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट क्या होता है। उसके बाद में रिस्क अवर्सनेस, रिस्क न्यूट्रल एंड रिस्क लवर के डेफिनेशन में हम लोग जाएंगे फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर कंज्यूमर और अ पर्टिकुलर एजेंट। तो सबसे पहले संक कॉस्ट क्या होता है? संक कॉस्ट इज द कॉस्ट दैट हैज ऑलरेडी हैपेंड। वो ऑलरेडी हो चुका है, उसमें रिकवरी इज इम्पॉसिबल। सो इसका रेलेवेंस है कि फ्यूचर डिसीजंस में संक कॉस्ट को कंसिडर नहीं किया जाए इन अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट। ओके, सो अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट इज द नेक्स्ट बेस्ट ऑल्टरनेटिव और द नेक्स्ट बेस्ट ऑप्शन। The return of the chosen option is going to be important when I talk about opportunity cost. Okay, it is very, very important in decision making, because if not option A, then option B is the opportunity cost. Agar option A is doing your own business and option B is doing a job in which the salary is 1 lakh a month, so the opportunity cost of doing the business is 1 lakh per month that you would have otherwise earned in your option B. Okay. So sunk cost is already incurred. It should not be included in decision making. Oppor- Opportunity cost has to be included in decision making. Okay. Um, Examples of the two, sunk cost is research and development cost, and opportunity cost is a salary or a job that you would have got as your next best alternative. Okay. Now it's important for us to understand firstly what are the different kinds of risk. There are two kinds of risk. One is systematic risk. It's market wise, okay, which you don't have any control over. It is non-diversifiable. It's the inflation in an economy, it's the interest rate, so on and so forth. Unsystematic risk is a firm or industry specific. It's not a systematic or a market wide risk that is affecting all markets. Unsystematic will affect only a particular market or a particular firm, like a strike or a mismanagement in a particular firm. It is definitely diversifiable because you can choose other alternative, right? So that is what it is. Risk can be measured in various ways. One is variance or standard deviation. The other is coefficient of variation. Standard deviation or variance is basically the variability for a particular return. Higher the standard deviation, higher will be the risk. Coefficient of variation is standard deviation divided by expected return. It is useful when we compare the different kind of returns in order to see कि किसमें वेरिएबिलिटी ज्यादा है. ओके, रिस्क प्रेफरेंसेस में if I talk about the diagram here, whenever in the utility from wealth, and this is the wealth, if it is concave, then the person is risk averse or prefers certainty, right? एक अनसर्टन सिचुएशन में एक्सपेक्टेड इनकम निकलता है या एक्सपेक्टेड वेल्थ. इफ ही प्रिफर्स द सर्टन वेल्थ ऑफ द सेम अमाउंट than the expected wealth, then the person is risk averse. If he is indifferent between expected wealth and certain wealth, then he is a risk neutral person. And if he is wanting to take the risk, even though he can get a certain wealth of the same amount, then he's a risk lover. Going into the gamble itself is giving him a return. Okay. So concave utility preference is for a risk averse individual. Linear utility will be for a risk neutral person. Okay. And a convex curve in the utility of wealth and wealth space will give me a risk loving individual, right? Now, यहां पर थ्योरी में वॉन न्यूमैन मॉर्गनस्टेन ने बहुत अच्छा एक एक्सपेक्टेड यूटिलिटी फ्रेमवर्क निकाला है, जहां पर द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ अ सर्टेन वेल्थ जीरो, एंड supposing there are only two possibilities, wealth W naught and wealth W1. So ये तरीके से expected utility of the individual निकाल सकते हैं. This expected utility framework was first postulated by von Neumann and Morgenstern. Morgenstern. Okay. That's the expected utility theory. People choose based on expected utility, not expected value. कितना utility उसको मिल रहा है. The expected utility is summation, the probability multiplied by the utility of that particular outcome. Okay. That's the expected utility theory. अब investment criterion में it's important for us to understand a few terms like NPV, IRR, and BCR. NPV is the net present value, that is the present value of inflows minus the initial outflow. जितना मैं इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं आज कोई प्रोजेक्ट में, if the future discounted value of inflows is greater than the initial outflow, then it is a profitable project. So whenever NPV is greater than zero, I should accept. Whenever NPV is negative, it means कि मेरा outflow ज़्यादा inflow कम है, so I should reject that proposal. IRR is basically the internal rate of return. It's the discount value that makes the net present value equal to zero. Okay. If the internal rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, then I should be accepting that proposal, because I can, this is my opportunity cost. Cost of capital is my opportunity cost. Initial outflow pay, I would have earned the interest rate, which is equivalent to the cost of capital. If my internal rate of return is greater than that, then I should accept the proposal. Otherwise, I should reject the proposal. Okay. Benefit cost ratio. Whenever the benefit cost ratio is greater than 1, I should accept. Less than 1, I should not accept. Definition of the benefit cost ratio is present value of benefits by present value of cost. So if the benefit outweighs the cost, if the ratio is greater than 1, then the benefit is outweighing the cost, and therefore I should accept the project. So whenever the present value of benefits greater than present value of costs, then I should accept, otherwise I should reject. The relationship is very clear. If IRR is equal to the cost of capital, then NPV is equal to 0 and BCR is equal to 1. Okay. And at the IRR, obviously NPV is equal to 0, because NPV को 0 equate करके ही IRR निकलता है. Right? अब हम लोग पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी एंड मार्कोविट्स मॉडल के बारे में जल्दी से देखते हैं. सो इन्वेस्टर्स आर रैशनल एंड रिस्क अवर्स इज एन assumption of the Markowitz model. Decision is based on expected return and variance, and markets are efficient. ओके. सो यहां पर ये थ्योरी मॉडल में डाइवर्सिफिकेशन एंड एफिशिएंट पोर्टफोलियोज के ऊपर में फोकस किया गया है, wherein there is a beta of the market. If the beta is equal to 1, that particular investment is moving with the market. If the beta is greater than 1, then it's more volatile than the market. Okay. That's what it is seen. Right. सर्टेनिटी इक्विवेलेंट एंड रिस्क प्रीमियम. अभी सर्टेनिटी इक्विवेलेंट का मतलब है एक्सपेक्टेड यूटिलिटी हमने निकाला. एक्सपेक्टेड यूटिलिटी, वट एवर आई फाइंड आउट, दैट विल गिव मी अ सर्टेनिटी इक्विवेलेंट. ओके. It's like saying that there is half probability that I'll lose all my money, and there's half probability that I'll get an income of 2500. So, and let's assume a utility of uh, root over wealth. So it is a risk averse individual, right? यूटिलिटी इज इक्वल टू रूट ओवर डब्ल्यू, तो एक्सपेक्टेड यूटिलिटी क्या निकलेगा? एक्सपेक्टेड यूटिलिटी विल बी इक्वल टू हाफ इंटू रूट ओवर जीरो प्लस हाफ इंटू रूट ओवर 2500। तो ये बेसिकली हो गया 50/2 विच इज 25। अब एक्सपेक्टेड यूटिलिटी इज इक्वल टू 25, इसका सर्टेन इक्विवेलेंट will be what? Certain equivalent will be basically utility is equal to 25, तो वेल्थ कितना होगा? वेल्थ विल बी इक्वल टू 625। सो सर्टन इक्विवेलेंट हो गया 625। सर्टन इक्विवेलेंट हो गया 625। अब एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू क्या हुआ? एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू हो गया हाफ इंटू जीरो प्लस हाफ इंटू 2500। सो ये एक्सपेक्टेड हो गया 1250। सो एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू हो गया 1250, सर्टेन इक्विवेलेंट हो गया 625। आर यू बीइंग एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस? तो सर्टेन इक्विवेलेंट जब भी लेस देन एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू होगा, द पर्सन विल बी रिस्क अवर्स। जो यहां पर केस है, 625 इज द सर्टेन इक्विवेलेंट एंड एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू इज 1250। जब भी सर्टेन इक्विवेलेंट इज इक्वल टू द expected value, risk neutral. Certain equivalent greater than the expected value, the person is risk loving. Okay, the risk premium is the expected value minus the certain equivalent. This is the extra amount that the consumer is willing to forego because he's a risk averse individual. ठीक है? That's exactly why the insurance companies are earning so much of money, because they are being able to charge us a higher amount than the expected value because our certain equivalent is lower, right? तो अब हमें ये सर्टेन इक्विवेलेंट समझ में आ गया है, रिस्क प्रीमियम भी समझ में आ गया है। सो दिस इज, एज आई सेड अर्लियर, इट्स यूज्ड इन इंश्योरेंस, इन्वेस्टिंग, पॉलिसी मेकिंग। इट हेल्प्स अस अंडरस्टैंड द बिहेवियर ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर कंज्यूमर, कि वो रिस्क अवर्स है, न्यूट्रल है या लविंग है। ओके, सो multiple benefits of this theory, and to understand सर्टेनिटी इक्विवेलेंट का मतलब एंड रिस्क प्रीमियम का मतलब। नाउ ये कुछ मॉडल्स हैं, लाइक द कैपिटल एसेट प्राइसिंग मॉडल, राइट, द कैपिटल मार्केट लाइन, द सिक्योरिटी मार्केट लाइन। ये सारे फॉर्मूलाज एंड कॉन्सेप्ट्स है विच इज इंपॉर्टेंट इन प्राइसिंग अ पर्टिकुलर एसेट। Okay, so capital asset pricing formula is expected rate of return is equal to RF is risk free return, risk free return. This beta is the risk factor, okay, multiplied by the expected return from the markets, right? So ये uncertain है return, the expected return from the market minus the risk free return। तो कितना ज्यादा extra I can expect the market return to have more than the risk free return multiplied by a risk factor। So if I do not take any risk, तो ये risk factor becomes equal to zero। So the expected return is only the risk free return, right? So ये हो गया कैपिटल एसेट प्राइसिंग मॉडल। The security market line plots beta, which is the risk factor, versus expected return. If the asset is above the SML, it is undervalued. If it is below, then it is overvalued. Okay, so beta versus the expected return. The capital market line plots the standard deviation versus expected return. तो कुछ ऐसा बनेगा कैपिटल मार्केट लाइन में। ये हो गया एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न, ये हो गया स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन। ओके, सो ये पॉजिटिवली स्लोप्ड होगा। तो जितना, अगर ये ऐसा होता है इंडिफरेंस कर्व्स, इफ द इंडिफरेंस कर्व्स आर लाइक दिस, तो बेसिकली स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन थोड़ा सा इंक्रीज हो रहा है, एक्सपेक्टेड return has to increase by a very large amount. So this is the plot of a risk averse individual. This is the plot of a risk averse individual. Okay. एंड यहीं पे इफ द लाइंस आर फ्लैटर, कुछ ऐसा अगर निकलता है लाइन, फ्लैट हो जाता है, तो वो इंसान इतना रिस्क अवर्स नहीं है. सो अ स्टीपर लाइन इज मोर रिस्क अवर्स देन फ्लैटर लाइंस. And the slope of this curve is the Sharpe ratio. Sharpe ratio क्या है? Excess return over the risk-free return divided by the standard deviation. Okay. Now, in order to manage your portfolio, there are risk management tools which have often been asked. Okay. सबसे पहला है diversification in order to have or in order to hedge against very high uncertainties. It's best to spread your investment across different assets. It reduces unsystematic risk. Unsystematic risk was the risk of a particular firm or a particular industry. उसको आप reduce कर देते हो. Insurance transfers risks to the underwriter or the third party जो insurance issue कर रहा है. It is absolutely worthwhile if it increases certainty equivalent, right? Value of information, paying for data to reduce uncertainty should be done if expected value with information minus expected value without information is greater than the cost of information. जितना information के लिए I am paying. So obviously, if the cost of information is lower than the expected value with info minus expected value without info, you should pay for that extra information. Behavioral biases, loss aversion, losses hurt more than gains. Okay. Some outcome framed differently across different uh, assets will affect your choices. Um, Obviously, overconfidence will lead to poor diversification. The equity market suffers with this a lot. Most of the retail investors are part-time investors and they think that they would be able to perform better than all the fund managers who are full-time into the equity markets, right? So it's always best to go to an expert rather than do it on your own. Tools to minimize risk, hedging, use derivatives to lock prices like a call option or a put option or futures, useful against price and inflation risks. So these are a few ways to hedge or minimize your risks. Summary of tools at your disposal. Number one, diversification, insurance, value of information, and hedging. So, final quick revision tips for your examination. Just pause the video and take a look at this. This is important because these are final points, okay? Put in a very point format so that you remember. ठीक है? Pause the video and take a look at this. December 2014, decision making under uncertainty. Non-systematic risk is the risk that cannot be eliminated even by diversifying because it is a risk of all the asset classes like inflation, global macroeconomic indicators affecting the markets. So that will affect all industries across. So a risk that cannot be eliminated by diversifying is non-systematic risk. We have just seen this. July 2016, choice under uncertainty. I have seen The capital market line making us understand this theory. So, expected income with standard deviation of income, the more steeper it is, the more risk averse is the individual. So, in the first case, number person A is more risk averse than person B. More risk averse. Both are risk averse because I have convex indifference curves. Okay. So person A is more risk averse than person B. So what will be the answer? Let's take a look at the options. A is highly risk averse. That is what it is. Steeper curve is higher risk aversion as A requires more compensation for the risk vis-a-vis B. Okay. So that's the answer. December 2019, choice under uncertainty. Uh, Consider the statements preferring a certain income to a risky income with the same level of expected value leads to risk averse behavior. Yes, this is correct. Okay. Being indifferent between certain income and uncertain income with the same level of expected value leads to risk neutral behavior. Only a risk neutral person will be indifferent between certain income and uncertain income with the same expected value. A risk averse person will always prefer the certain income over the uncertain income with the same level of expected value. Okay. So only one is true. It's option C. June 2020 डिसीजन अंडर अनसर्टेनिटी मार्कोविट्स पोर्टफोलियो जैसे हमने देखा था मार्कोविट्स पोर्टफोलियो में क्या अजम्पशंस है अजम्पशंस इन मार्कोविट्स पोर्टफोलियो इज rational investors risk averse and perfect information. It's a mean variance analysis. It focuses on portfolio diversification and risk minimization via portfolio construction. So इन्वेस्टर्स आर पेसिमिस्टिक अबाउट स्टार्टअप्स बट ऑप्टिमिस्टिक ये तो कुछ है नहीं इन्वेस्टर्स हैव फ्री एक्सेस टू फेयर एंड करेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन यस लीन टूवर्ड्स क्रिप्टो नहीं इन्वेस्टर्स आर रैशनल एंड मैक्सिमाइज यूटिलिटी गिवन सो खाली बी एंड डी करेक्ट है व्हेन इट कम्स टू द मार्कोविट्स पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी सो बी एंड डी ऑप्शन बी जून 2020 decision making uncertainty under uncertainty. Which of the following measures are used by risk averse person to minimize risk? तो एक तो डाइवर्सिफिकेशन है इंश्योरेंस है टोटल कॉस्ट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज नथिंग वैल्यू ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ रिस्क इवेंट सो इंफॉर्मेशन वो कलेक्ट करता है चूज द करेक्ट आंसर फ्रॉम द ऑप्शंस गिवन बिलो ए बी एंड डी ओनली बी asymmetric information. This is an extremely important area of एज अ पार्ट ऑफ कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर जहां पर हम लोग के पास में फुल इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है देर आर टू पार्टीज एक होता है द सेलर एंड द अदर इज द बायर इफ बोथ डू नॉट हैव द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन या कोई पार्टी के पास में कुछ एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन है दैट कैन लीड टू मार्केट फेलियर ओके तो ये जो पूरा एरिया है वेयर द इंफॉर्मेशन इज नॉट द सेम फॉर बोथ द पार्टीज दिस part we are going to take a look at and the topic's name is asymmetric information so yahan par as the name is also suggesting one party has more information or better information than the other party okay therefore there will be inefficiencies in this kind of a market so key concepts to be understood सबसे पहला is adverse selection जहां पर the selection of the buyer is not proper because of lack of information okay this typically occurs before going into a contract or a transaction and there is hidden information okay an example would be reckless drivers getting insurance okay moral hazard is something that happens after the contract That is reckless driving if I am already insured. If I already have a mediclaim, I'll not take care of my body as well as if I would have no mediclaim. Okay, that is the problem of moral hazard. Moral hazard is an issue that happens in most of the insurance markets. जहां पर इंश्योरेंस आपने ले लिया, आपका बेस्ट फ्रेंड है मोबाइल फोन, आजकल मोबाइल का भी इंश्योरेंस होता है। तो इफ यू टेक इंश्योरेंस फॉर डैमेज ऑन योर मोबाइल फोन, यू विल नॉट बी एज केयरफुल एज you would have been earlier, right? So ये सारे areas come into moral hazard. Signaling is where the informed party, जो पार्टी के पास में ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन है, वो एक अच्छा सिग्नल दे रहा है टू द ऑपोजिट पार्टी टू मेक एन इन्फॉर्म्ड डिसीजन। ओके, सो जॉब मार्केट में इफ अ पर्सन हैज मोर एजुकेशन, more degrees, more experience, that is a sort of a signal that hire me at the price that you are actually looking at. Screening is a method in which the uninformed party or the party which has less information basically screens the other party, okay, in order to ensure that the other party also reveals themselves. Okay, so screening वो है इंफॉर्मेशन। तो यहाँ पर एक्चुअली मल्टीपल एग्जांपल्स है, डॉक्टर पेशेंट, लॉयर एंड अ क्लाइंट। सो मोस्ट ऑफ दीज मार्केट्स विल हैव asymmetric इंफॉर्मेशन। जितना इंफॉर्मेशन लॉयर को है अबाउट योर ओन केस, वो अपना शॉर्ट कमिंग्स आपको नहीं बताने वाला है, राइट? सो यू विल हैव टू screen the lawyer by order sheets of the court, by looking at credibilities, so on and so forth. तो ये हो गया स्क्रीनिंग। नोबेल प्राइज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में एसिमेट्रिक इंफॉर्मेशन में Akerlof got the Nobel Prize for the lemons problem that he basically pointed out. Michael Spence got it for signaling, and Joseph Stiglitz got it for screening. सो ये था नोबेल प्राइज का कॉन्टेक्स्ट इन एसिमेट्रिक इंफॉर्मेशन। काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हुए हैं डायरेक्टली स्पेसिफाइंग कि कौन सा इकोनॉमिस्ट को नोबेल प्राइज मिला है, कौन सा इकोनॉमिस्ट कौन से प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई करके उस पे काम किया है। ओके, सो दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट। सो लेट्स नाउ गो इनटू एडवर्स सिलेक्शन। यहाँ पर जॉर्ज एकरलॉफ ने प्रॉब्लम ऑफ लेमन्स एक बहुत अच्छा पेपर में इन्होंने अपना थ्योरी को पुट अक्रॉस किया था। सो दिस इज अ सिचुएशन वेयर हिडन इंफॉर्मेशन लीड्स टू अनडिजायरेबल मार्केट आउटकम्स। द यूज्ड कार मार्केट फॉर एग्जांपल, ओके, द बायर्स कैन नॉट डिस्टिंग्विश गुड कार्स फ्रॉम बैड कार्स, बैड कार्स आर कॉल्ड लेमन्स। ओके, जॉर्ज एकरलॉफ ने बेसिकली ये बोला अपने पेपर में कि बायर विल बी बेसिकली अज्यूमिंग एवरेज क्वालिटी एंड एवरेज प्राइस वो ऑफर करने वाला है। सो अ बैड कार विल गो फॉर अ गुड प्राइस एंड अ गुड कार will not go ultimately. Basically, in the end, only lemons will be sold at average prices. So the market for the good commodity or the good quality commodity will completely collapse क्योंकि average market price will be lower than the uh, reserve price of the good quality product by the seller. So only those sellers will be entering into the market who have only lemons. So average price में खाली lemons ही trade होगा। So that is what George Akerlof basically said in his Market for Lemons paper. ओके, यूजीसी नेट यहाँ से डायरेक्ट कट कॉपी पेस्ट करता है, ये सारे एरियाज में डायरेक्टली कट कॉपी पेस्ट करता है। तो यहाँ पर आपको क्या चीज़ पता होना चाहिए? यू शुड नो जॉर्ज एकरलॉफ Market for lemons, it is a paper on adverse selection. ठीक है, ये इंफॉर्मेशन आपके सामने है. Solutions that Akerlof also gave was the good type cars can give warranties, guarantees on the cars, branding of these cars, third party certification on the good quality of the car, government ka regulation in order to keep up that, okay, a used car can only be sold with this kind of a tag. Okay, तो ये सारे तरीके हैं इन ऑर्डर टू गेट from the market collapsing. Next, let's go to moral hazard. Moral hazard, as I said, is a problem with most of the insurance wherein a person buys insurance and then becomes reckless. Okay, arises when a contract, when one party takes excessive risk due to lack of consequences. In short, people take more risks. Okay. Real life example में 2008 financial crisis, banks took excessive risk assuming that the government will bail them out. Health insurance, public sector jobs. Okay, so these are all examples of moral hazard. Solution of a moral hazard problem would be monitoring on the individual, performance linked incentives, deductibles, and co-payments for insurance. Okay. नेक्स्ट इज द प्रिंसिपल एजेंट प्रॉब्लम. प्रिंसिपल एजेंट प्रॉब्लम में कुछ ऐसा है दैट वन ऑफ द पार्टीज, यूजुअली द एजेंट, will act in their own self interest. Okay, an example that actually comes in mind is lawyer. The lawyer is actually supposed to represent you, but in the real world, it has been seen that collusion between the opposite party and the lawyer of the agent collude. Okay, and the lawyer operates in their own self interest rather than the client's. Okay, so conflict of interest between the principal and agent. Agent may act in a self interest due to asymmetric information and lack of monitoring from the principal. Okay, an example would be the employer and the employee, the voter, who is the principal, and the politician. So the politician has more information and the principal has less information. So, key terms to understand here is that the principal is the monitoring person and the agent is the person who can act on their own self interest, impacting the principal. Okay, so few terms to remember is incentive compatibility. Agent benefits by acting in the principal's interest. Participation constraint, agent must gain at least reservation utility in order to act in the interest of the principal. Monitoring reduces moral hazard in agent behavior. Okay, so in terms of UGC net, objective questions on contract theory, incentives, and moral hazard. Okay, so this has come in the UGC net examinations. Signaling. What is signaling? A strategy used by the informed party to credibly convey private information. Signal must be costly enough to prevent low quality individuals from imitating. Okay, so a signaling happens in the job market with high skilled workers showing off their certificates, like a graduate from the top places of the world, like a Harvard, would be able to show that, okay, they have more productivity than the others. So that's a signal. Low skilled workers avoid costly education and therefore signal is credible. George A. Spence basically introduced signaling into the job market and said that education is a very costly signal. So that's a very good way to signal your capability. Okay. Cost must differ between types. High versus low ability. Signal must be observable. Signal must be reliable. All right. So Michael Spence basically introduced this information. Next, we go into screening. Screening was uh, again contributed extensively by Joseph Stiglitz. Okay. Screening is where an uninformed party will do a few things in order to extract information from the other party. Involves offering different contracts or tests to separate the different types. Insurance firms offer policies with co-payments, with medical screening, so on and so forth. Employers use the tools like interviews, tests, or performance-based pay in order to screen properly. Okay. So the difference between signaling and screening is initiated by the informed party. Screening is done by the uninformed party. An example of screening is education, is screening is sorry, job interview, and signaling is having higher education in order to signal your better capability than the other candidates. Nobel laureate for signaling is Michael Spence, and screening is Joseph Stiglitz. These are a few things to keep in your mind. Okay. Moral hazard, just a few tools to take a look at very, very quickly. Monitoring, supervision to observe effort, CCTV cameras, for example. Monitoring should happen in order to ensure that the principal has more information than the agent. Uh, to reduce moral hazard, performance pay, efficiency wages, deductibles or co-pays for insurance, and contracts between the two parties to align incentives. Okay. Now let's talk about ratchet effect. Now, what is the ratchet effect? Happens when past performance becomes a future benchmark. Like, for example, the GST revenue achieved in the last year in the same month is a benchmark for this year in the same month. So, individuals or organizations reduce effort to avoid higher targets in the future. Because if I do something amazing today, in the next month, I will be given as a benchmark of the last month. So, underperform in order to not get a lot of targets in the next upcoming month. Okay. So that's called the ratchet effect. It also happens in the government, like government sets tax target based on last year's revenue. Therefore, the states, like um, the states in India, right? Karnataka, West Bengal, Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, they will underreport to avoid the higher quotas in the tax from their state contribution. Okay. Workers hide productivity to avoid the workload increase in the next month. So agents manipulate information to influence future expectation. That is what is happening here. Right? Common pool resources and tragedy of the commons. So what happens here is that there is a resource pool. Like if you remember, we have done public good and private good. In public good, there is a uh, there are two basically characteristic: non-rival and non-excludable. So I'm talking about the goods that are non-excludable but are rival. Okay, so no one can be excluded in consuming that good, but that actually leads to over usage of the common resource. So common pool resources are rivalrous but non-excludable. The example would be fisheries, forest, groundwater, grazing land for cattle and horses. The tragedy is that each person benefits fully from using the resource but bears only a fraction of the cost. It leads to overusage. Like, for example, if I were to show it with a diagram, because the marginal benefit of the society is lower than the marginal benefit of the individual. I call this the social cost, marginal social benefit, and marginal private benefit. Okay, so marginal private benefit would ensure that the quantity produced is some QP, and the marginal social benefit and the marginal social cost would ensure that the quantity should be QS. So QS is the efficient quantity, but it leads to over usage by the private party, hence leading to a deadweight loss. So this red area is basically the deadweight loss, because in this area, the marginal social cost is greater than the marginal social benefit. So the cost is higher than the benefit. Therefore, this part is also called the deadweight loss. So it leads to over usage in this market, and ultimately it leads to market failure. ठीक है? So this is what happens when I have a common resource pool. It leads to deadweight loss and it leads to a market failure situation, because there will be overproduction, right? Solutions for the tragedy of commons would include government regulation or intervention ensuring that the uh, marginal social profit comes down, community-based management programs led by economist Ostrom, or assigning property rights. So these are a few ways in order to ensure that we don't have a failure due to tragedy of the commons. Remember, it's the case of an impure public good where the good is non-excludable but it is rivalrous. June 2014, asymmetric information. Um, Match items with list 1 and list 2. The screening hypothesis is given by Arrow. Job market signaling was Spencer. The problem of moral hazard in case of medical insurance is Paul Miller and Paul Volcker, and Market of Lemons is George Akerlof. Okay, so A2, B3, C4, then D1. That is what my answer is. And that's A2, B3, C4, and D1. B, Bombay. June 2014, asymmetric information, match the items given in list 1 and list 2. So, theory of clubs, that's given by John Buchanan. So basically, Buchanan developed the theory of clubs, which deals with goods that are excludable but not rival up to a particular point. Okay. Impossibility theorem has been developed by Kenneth Arrow. Arrow's impossibility theorem demonstrates that no voting system can convert individual preferences into a consistent set of community wide preference. Okay. So, no individual preference can be seen as a collective preference while meeting certain reasonable criteria. Okay, that's the Arrow impossibility theorem. Political decision making model is given by Anthony Downs. So, Downs developed the economic theory of democracy and political decision making, including the median voter theorem. Okay. Optimum provision of local public good, Charles Tybalt. Tybalt proposed a model explaining how local public goods can be efficiently provided through competition with jurisdiction. Okay. So um, that's what it is. So it is A3B4 C1, A3B4 political D1, and optimum provision of local public goods by Charles Tybalt. So that's A3, B4, C1, and D2. That's option D. December 2018 asymmetric information question. Who among the following has been awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for analysis of markets with asymmetric information? There are three economists. Okay, George Akerlof, Michael Spence, and Joseph Stiglitz. Okay, Michael Spence for uh, screening. Okay, mm, Akerlof is basically for the market of lemons. So the job market, which is signaling by Spence, and screening theory by Joseph Stiglitz. Right? June 2019. Why do individuals act in riskier ways after being insured? Because of moral hazard. I have insurance now, I'll act in a riskier way than I would if I had no insurance.